Good morning, everybody. Here we are. New all-time highs. Pretty amazing. It is amazing times for sure. So, how do we handle this? Well, we always handle things the way we always do. I mean, that's really the factory work. This is certainly not the place to be buying unless you're willing to put in a big stop. Just looking at this particular chart, which would mean putting a stop down below here. There's nothing wrong. You do it, you have to use the appropriate or money. So that's rather a large stop. So the other alternative is to wait for some type of correction, meaning it may just rip right up to 3,000 since it's new all-time highs. And we'll look at the other markets, but here we are, gapping above this swing high here. And so far it's holding on to it. And it's actually, bullish price action here over the last few hours after running up. It's not pulling back. I guess that was the extent of the pullback. And now it's going sideways. And so we've got which we see that prices have backed off from initially. Nothing of significance, but, excuse me, we do have a second topping tail. So in other words, we've got a little minuscule trading range going on there. So that gives us our high and low reference points on the hourly time frame, looking at the pre-market analysis right there. Now a break, I mean, it's coming down here, but it opens up the door to that possibility. And that's why we mark off our initial reference. And look at the next reference. The bottom of that move down there, that dip after the initial gap up. And from there, gap fill, so on and so forth. And that turns it into a red day. Side of that or scenario is that since we've got the, if you're an intraday trader or want to get on board here, even, if you say from a swing trading perspective, you buy it here with a stop below there, right? The low right here, that is also an option with the proper money management. So there's different scenarios when we look at multiple time frames, manage it according to the time frame that we're going to focus on with a bias from a higher. So again, the pullback, the greater than 100% retracement from this time frame is nothing you can do. From a smaller time frame, you have other options that you can utilize if you know how. So on the weekly, you've got the low down here at the beginning of June. Now we're starting a new month with a gap. I would say 3,000 is a target area since it's a big whole number. We'll see if we can continue the move up from there. And just from the perspective of today, does it hold above that pre-market low? Looking at the futures. Going to the Nasdaq. Same, well, not the same story. It's not breaking out to new all-time highs. It's not even consolidating. It's kind of just grinding its way up there. We've got a topping tail there. The first one was ignored at that point. So bullish price action. And so the lesson or the takeaway from looking at just what's going on here is that one candlestick doesn't change a trend. One candlestick that suggests, I shouldn't say suggests, it actually defines that sellers took control in the moment doesn't mean necessarily you should sell. And when it doesn't follow through like it did not here and go sideways, that's, a tell in a sense. If we use that terminology from, playing cards, as a tell. So as technical traders looking at the charts, I see a move up and I see a topping tail. That bar in of itself says, hey, sellers took control in the moment. That means that prices potentially could go down, and then it didn't. And we've got a bottoming tail. And that is what bar by bar analysis is about, to keep you in the moment and update your bias based on what is rather than what you think. So it would have been normal to think topping tail, well, bullish price action, maybe it pulls back a little bit. We go through our just normal analysis of wide range bar. Does it hold the 50% line of the wide range bar or the bottom of it? Topping tail doesn't follow through, sideways. Bottoming tail, buyer stepped up. So here we've got another topping tail. Same thing. Resistance and a higher time frame is right in this area. So a more potent reference point for the NQs to get through versus the S&Ps, which are at new all-time highs. Going to the Dow, it's not breaking out to new all-time highs. We see that it's got a lower high, a couple of topping tails there, but the trend is up. It's at resistance, and all eyes will be focused on whether it can get through this high here today or whether it's just going to chop around here. This is a pretty important reference point. And the fact that it's been up here, this is the third time, and we'll see if it can clear it. And more importantly, can it close above there? We have the bond market just kind of, I guess, looking at it with a skeptical eye, I might say, or think here, in that, bonds are not dropping here under this support level, which of course then interest rates would be going up. And that in turn would be an interpretation of, this idea of the economy slowing and this China tax rate thing and, slowing down the economy and possible recession, so on and so forth. So that's a little bit of a fly in the ointment as far as the bond market goes, because it's kind of suggesting that, well, happy days, equity markets, but we're not so convinced yet. And so this is something to keep an eye on here as whether bonds start to rally here today, which I think might put a damper on the market. So we'll see. Oil is up here, and that is in opposition of what the bonds are thinking. So a little bit of confusion there. So crude oil going up, negating this red bar, not by much, but it gapped up. And so we'll see here if it can hold on to this and whether this can be a continuation pattern up to the next resistance level. And so Friday's low is going to be an important line in the sand here short term for crude oil, but it's entered into this void here. So it's up to the buyers to lose control at this point. And that would be another tell if we see crude oil at the end of the day down here and bonds pushing up toward the top of this trading range. So the intermarket analysis part gives us insights as to what other markets may be doing. It doesn't always work, let's say, exactly where the correlations are perfect, but overall, these are good guidelines as to what's happening as it relates to the bigger picture. Now, gold is pulling back here, and that's what should happen. And now this is a great uptrend. It's even regardless of the news, this pullback would be normal. And as we covered last week, this was a big breakout above major resistance area over the last several years. So this pullback here, we're looking at that as being viable. And we'll see when it gets into this area, give or take. Really don't want to see it come all the way down here, but let's say around this 1380 level where this can begin to turn around. So as we always do, we wait for that turnaround bar to form. And so we'll kind of waiting to see if it happens, and we'll see the hourly, which is now broken down here. It'll start to bottom out with a retest, or it'll go sideways here. So we keep an eye on multiple time frames. Sure, it's a little extended on the weekly. It's had this big move up, so maybe some consolidation even for a couple of weeks would be normal. We'll be keeping an eye on that as well. And so we'll see the transports and the Russell brought up the rear last week. They're up at resistance here. And so we want to see the transports push up to the next level here. In other words, we want to see these lagging markets, especially the transports, which are more influenced by, the beliefs about the economy, and this is underperformed. So if this can begin to catch up and show strength, we weigh that against what the bond market thinks, and I guess in the end, as long as equities close the day on a positive note and don't go back down to where they started this gap up rally, regardless of what happens, I guess, in bonds in the short term, we just go with the flow and things are going to go up. But when we don't have all of these things lining up, you got to keep an eye on the exit door, because you never know, the next tweet comes or disappointment, and all of a sudden, things are falling through the floor. Anyway, positive developments over the weekend. The markets overall, they like it. The S&Ps have no overhead resistance. As far as the spiders go, they're gapping up here, not that far away from 300. And I have to believe that that's going to be a big number. And, it started from down at this support level, greater than 100% retracement, and big number there. So I think the upside, what I wrote in the letter, is limited. And I don't think we're going to have a continuation of what happened in June in July. So, let's keep the bias in perspective. Let's see if we even get to 300. And if we do, what the reaction is to it, step by step. The Russell, which was outperforming at the end of the week, got up to this resistance area. Now it's above. It's got room to continue. So at the moment, everything looks like it can continue to go somewhat higher. Not sure about significantly higher. Let's see where we end the day. We've got a short week here. Markets close early on Wednesday and Friday. Well, probably most traders will be gone, so we'll see where it all shakes out by the end of the week there. So that's it for me, Dan. I guess a little short, but there's a lot moving here and opens to cover, so you got some extra time.
Yeah, good morning. It's going to be, another one of those problems. Of course, things are moving. Same when we gap up huge or gap down huge. Trying to get on board with a good risk to reward is going to be a whole different story. But yeah, they are holding incredibly well right here pre-market. Let's look at opens. So no, everyone's asking me about Google. It's gapping over the stop, or it's gapping right to it, to the penny right here. So you ignore that stop. Ignore it. I've given you new rules. Sit on your hands for 5 minutes. Then the stop is the tighter of this 1105, see pre-market, 1105, and I just gave it another 22 cents. Remember, we're short the 1110s. So hopefully it's, even if stopped, it's not going to be too bad. Or the 15-minute high. Is that clear? Fabian, do me a favor and put your drop down to all panelists and attendees. All right, so is that clear now? I really don't know how to make it any clearer. All right. Boeing, we have a call spread and it's opening flat in a strong market, so that's very good. So our call spread should go down in value because of the weekend decay. And volatility is going to come down too because of the big market gap up. Lyft, we have a put spread that looks great. FedEx put spread, we covered half into strength on Friday. GLD, I mentioned, we have a call spread, and that looks good. SMH put spread, we're out of half on the gap up on Friday, and I sent Telegram alerts both on SMH and NVIDIA. We'll move the stop to a 30-minute low, and let's try to get out at pennies on the gap up. Finally, Triple M, gapping up. We have a put spread on that. So that's all the trades in the weekly. Oh, we shorted. Oh, okay. You're correct. You're absolutely right. I'm in the trade too. Yep, you're right. But okay, so there'll be a little pain, but we'll just manage it like always. AXL, we're long stock, Chewy, put spread, and we covered half. Halliburton, long calls and is gapping up. Intel, we have a covered call, but the gap up now makes the pattern look better. Clack, I've tightened the stop also. Let's try to get out on the gap up or 30-minute low. LDOS, long stock, looks great. You know, that's nice trading range above the 20 all-time highs. Looks good. Lima Hotel, put spread, lift. We got a long stock and a put spread. We actually have 3 positions. We have 2 put spreads, 2 different expirations. Mighty Mo here, we shorted Friday into the close, gapping up a little bit, but you know, not as disastrous as the broader market gaps. MYL, we're long stock. So you see, we still have a ton of positions. And that looks fine, gapping up. OAS, gapping up out of this consolidation. RPD, we have a covered call. Toughen, put spread. WBA, long stock. All right, there you have it. There's all our opens. We got a lot. Let me give me a second. I need to load in our new ones. Hey, Lou. About how many positions do you have open currently? You can go, well, we have 2 swing letters, and whatever I just went over, I don't know. So about 15 in the swing letter and about 8 in the other. Yeah, but just so you know also, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we got 8 open in the weekly. You can always go to the open trade spreadsheet and members area, and everything's listed there, open and closed. AXSM, McGraw gave me this, all-time highs, 1, 2, 3. Looks good. This little guy gapping up to 5 and change from this bottoming pattern, but you know, the price weight's not great. Coup, that's a trading range here. McGraw, that's a put spread candidate. Sloppy, but I like these red bars ignored right there. GWR gapping to 109 to all-time highs. That's a big old gap. I like this one, McGraw. Gap from this bullish consolidation. We got flat 20 and 50. Gap in a 62. Target 64, 66. I also have the SPY calls expiring today. All right, I guess I don't know what that. Okay, you're talking to Alex. CMI. This is a nice little bull flag here. McGraw, you gave me this. I like that. SWKS gapping from this consolidation, 83 bucks. The gap's too big. That's going to be the problem, getting on board these things. Zulu Mike got a downgrade to sell from Goldman. So anything gapping down in a strong market is weak. And in terms of the Dow 30, Boeing's flat now, down a penny, but that's the only red one of the whole Dow 30. And that's the only one we're short. So very good. TEUM 288. I think that had earnings, but I see no pattern. Honeywell, this thing stopped us out last week. Still a mess. IR, I like this wide range bar in this trading range. I like the weekly, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's keep an eye on that. Bro, oh, this one stopped us out last week. We had a couple stop outs on these breakout failures, but now look at that 2-bar reversal right on support and back to making new highs. It's crazy. Hey, Andre. BBBY, still in a nasty downtrend on the daily, but look at the weeklies, a climactic buy setup, major support. But if we can get a double bottom on the daily, keys. This was yours, McGraw. It's right at, I don't know. I think we can find better. There's our triple M. We'll be tightening stops. Fizzler, I got on the other computer. OMC looks good. ADPT is a new issue, gapping up again. Real is a new issue. Only one day though. Full, you might get a day trade out of, kind of a 1, 2, 3. There's our Boeing plant. I was looking at short a bounce, but work, fiber, these are all new issues. There's our Chewy, crowd. Crowd had a nice day Friday. Look at that, nice breakout right there. Hot stocks are a mess. Beyond, some mess. Our Lyft, Netflix, gapping. Oh, that's a gap breakout. That's a put spread candidate on Netflix. Nike, it's sloppy. The answer is yes if it's under here for Friday is all, but it came down pretty darn hard and, you know, engulfing on the weekly. Apple 203. So it's gapping out of this consolidation. Maybe 30-minute high, target 205 to 210. GBTC, Bitcoin coming in a little. Yeah, gapping at Thursday's low here. That's an island reversal. I'll have to get a picture of that. Because we'll be doing an MT live on that. All right, I think I'm done here too. I got accused. That's holding like a tank. IWM. Maybe a day trade, but I need a gapping over this prior high. Wow. Tesla 230. Okay, there's a put spread for us. Remember I said this pattern we could trade either way? Now we got the resolution. So that's step one, right? Step two is intraday setup. Fabian, it's a setup for Facebook, 195, 200. The answer is no, Fabian, because our rules say if it hit the stop first, and so it's gapping up over the stop, so that makes it invalid. Oh, that's a loud bell. Woke me up. Yeah, so Facebook, we have that rule. So now I just go to my open spreadsheet and I put that in the comments. Yeah, you know, little Facebook actually falling here, Amazon. Amazon is a put spread candidate. That looks fantastic now. Look, we got these two pivots of major support, and it's bullish pre-market. So whoever wants to help, McGraw, that looks great. There's a put spread.